Hantao, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Hantao Yuan serves as Moku's marketing growth chief and community strategist. He has been acquiring creators and users for over a decade for game publishers and gaming brands. He has also sold his esports team through mergers and acquisitions to Overtime Sports and advised two other teams through mergers and acquisitions. So, first and foremost, tell me how you got into the whole Web3 space.
Sure. So it was actually in university. My parents are Asian, so they were like, become a doctor, become a lawyer, whatever. So I took science, right? And I was doing chemistry, but I started playing StarCraft at that time and League of Legends, and I really got into it. So I started hosting events for like Counter Strike, Smash, Dota, League. And my first exposure to crypto was actually in Counter-Strike skins. So back in like 2015, 2016, you could like bet Counter-Strike skins and crypto on the outcomes of matches for like Navi. There was like a lot of other teams that aren't here anymore, but that's kind of how I got started and got
That,
exposed to crypto.
Hantao, I want to say something. My background is computer science and math. Like, we've probably gone through similar systems, and I've never played games ever. Like, everyone in my class was like gaming all the time. So it's like we're involved in the same world, but we do very, very different things. And, I'm even in the crypto world, but when it comes to Web3, I just don't have much exposure to it. So, I guess this will be a good time to talk about Moku. So explain to me, what does it mean for Moku? First of all, what Moku is, and what does it mean for it to be within the Web3 world?
Yeah, so we've started Moku 4 years ago, and we've been building products in crypto since then. So we built crypto native distribution for publishing stack. We've built a launcher as well, and now we're building Grand Arena. And what does it mean to build in crypto? I think a lot of it is just like trial and error of figuring out what crypto users actually want to use for
Mm,
products. Because I think what we've seen over the last long cycle is a lot of products have come up 1 week and they're gone.
mm.
And so I think it's about like finding what will last for a long time.
Yeah, but like, how is this game ingrained in the Web3 world? Are you using coins? Is it being like is information being processed on the blockchain? Uh, does it involve like exactly how is that tie between like a conventional how is it different than a conventional game?
Yeah. So in Grand Arena, there's two main parts. One, which is the actual game. But the thing is players don't play in this game. It's only AI. So imagine fantasy
Mm,
sports or fantasy basketball, but instead of LeBron or LaMelo, you have athletes that are based on NFTs. And then the second layer, which is
mm,
daily fantasy, because the two major things that we're super bullish on, number one, is the people in crypto really, really want speculation, right? Everybody wants to put some money in and get an outsized return. And the other part
mm.
is AI content, like on TikTok and Instagram Reels. You see a lot of content that you don't really know whether it's real or fake. You see like gorillas doing vlogs, fishing, cocaine on those
Right.
videos. So it's like it's a little bit hard to tell. And I think AI content is just going to get more and more um, complicated, and people
Yeah.
just don't care and they'll just watch it for fun.
Yeah, and Huntel, the best way to sell your point is just to look back, even just a year or two, and to notice how that rate of change, of how, even just a few months, even literally, like we're not talking years or decades, we're talking weeks and months. You're seeing just a recognizable difference in just the progress of AI. And I would say about a year ago, you were easily able to tell the difference between what's AI and what's not. And we're kind of in that gray zone where now you see clips and you're looking for that watermark. You're looking for some indicator because it's becoming a lot harder to tell. And using that information to make projections forward, uh, yeah, AI is going to seamlessly integrate into our lives. And as much as we believe it's coming soon, it's almost certainly going to come sooner than we anticipate. So, when we're talking about your ecosystem, do you guys have a native token? How exactly does it work?
We don't have a token yet, but the ecosystem is a little bit complicated. What I can say is the TLDR is pump your bags. That's the whole thesis, right? So there are a lot of mechanics within Grand Arena of like, how can I get upside from this thing? So there's on-chain royalties that we have for holders. There's ways that you can incentivize people that are within your own like group or guild. So there's a lot of incentive mechanisms built in to give value back to users, but also pump their bags.
Hmm. You've been in the industry since 2021. And as you know, it's a really volatile ecosystem where things just pump, they crash. You have bull cycles, you have bear cycles. How has that affected Moku's direction?
Yeah, I think there's been like 5 black-swan events already. Um, and at the end of the day, it's just like we build irregardless of market conditions. Like, for example, when USDC depegged to like 87 cents, there's like literally nothing we could do, right? You
Right.
either sell your USDC and take a 13% haircut, or you do nothing because everybody in the industry is also screwed because their USDC is also down.
Yeah.
So it just repegged, and it's just like there's a lot of stuff that's out of our control, and we just have to keep building products for the people in crypto.
Yeah, yeah. In a broader sense, so taking a just for just a moment, taking a step out of Moku and looking at it from a broader perspective, how are you on the industry and where do you think things are going?
Yeah, I mean, I think institutional adoption has been the highest that it's ever been,
Yeah,
right? And people are finally actually using a blockchain for different things. A lot of people want to put their data on there. They want to make sure that they can utilize just like different technology and cryptography and et cetera on the blockchain. And I think it's just inevitable of people utilizing it because when I was working in gaming and I was trying to send payments to somebody in another country, it was just horrific, right? And I could do that in like 1 minute with ETH, USDC, USDT, etc. So it's just going to change financialization around the world and how people can send and receive money.
yeah, 100%. And are you beyond gaming, beyond Web3? Are you involved in this current bull run? And do you have any speculation on it?
Yeah. So generally, I only do two things. One is I hold spot positions, and any profits that I take goes out into just stables and LP farming and stable farming for like 10% APR to 20% on certain initiatives, and then the rest is like futures and shorts and longs. The most recent dip that happened, it was really fun. I got liquidated in like one candle because that one candle is like 10%
Yeah.
move, but then I was able to come back after everything recovered. So I think this general space is just like because the volatility, because of so many opportunities, it's just a lot more fun than traditional finance markets.
It definitely is. And if you're willing to spend time to study the market, you can capitalize on that unpredictability and you can capitalize on that volatility. But yeah, you mentioned Black Swan events. I mean, just last week, Friday, I would kind of put one in the bag there for Black Swan events. It comes out of nowhere. And yeah, I think that whole thing happened. Like the real shock factor just happened in 30 minutes. And I was like looking at AVAX and it was like $30. And then literally a minute later, it was $6. And I don't even know. I'm like, what is going on? And I'm freaking out. But thankfully, we're back at like $22 or $20. And
Yeah.
but yeah, anyone who was trading with leverage really got the short end of the stick because when certain altcoins dipped 80%, even for just a moment, I mean, it was really hard to put in any buy orders at that price point. But anyone who did any sort of leverage, as safe as you thought you were at 2x leverage, you were gone in just 2, 3 minutes. And unfortunately, people lost like all their savings in the span of seconds.
Yeah, I was slamming the buy button on some centralized exchanges. I couldn't even see the trading view and the order book. Like literally it wouldn't load, so I didn't
Yeah.
know what price I was even buying at. The limit orders didn't work, so I had to like slam market orders. But thankfully, like I still got some good returns during that period. But yeah, it was a
Awesome.
very weird time.
Yeah, it's almost like even people, by the way, even people who are shorting the market couldn't close their positions because they were locked out of their exchanges. So it was catastrophic for a lot of people. And, a lot of frustration going around. And usually that's kind of the, you know, the precursor to something really big. I mean, if you look, what was it, like 10 to 15 times bigger of a liquidation than the COVID liquidation and FTX collapse liquidation, like orders of magnitude bigger. So this was like the biggest collapse in crypto history. Do you think NFTs are going to make a comeback?
Do I think NFTs are going to make a comeback? I think that's a very difficult question. I would say depends on the utilization. Because, so what I mean by this is the current version of NFTs, which we know as like Bored Apes, Punks, etc. There's some prominence to some of them, right? But the exterior value of these collections is essentially people wanting the floor price of these assets to go up. And because of the nature of NFTs, it's really hard to actually make them super liquid and make the price go up without some kind of external force. That's why we see like Punk Strategy and other tokens like that. So overall, like NFTs are probably like a 5 out of 10 for me.
Mm,
On the overall thing is probably just like, hey, this is cool. I got to be part of a community, and depending whether or not the project adds utility to it or adds some value to it, then maybe it's of something. But overall, like tokens are just the king, right? It's just more fungible, more liquid.
you're right, right. So back to Moku for just a moment. What are his current challenges today?
Yeah, I would say just being in a space like this is very challenging. Because, so for example, like a lot of funds or market makers or exchanges could just like get wiped out overnight, right? And there's nothing that we could do as builders in this space. And then even a lot of funds and investors who put a lot of money into this space, they saw projects literally just die out because of certain events like last Friday. And
Right.
because of that, they're like they shut down their funds and then they can't raise another one, and then there's no more liquid capital coming into the space to help builders build stuff.
Yeah. A lot of people were scarred from that Friday event. And do you have any advice for people to mitigate the risks online? I know there's like protocols that everyone's aware of, but do you have any particular points that you consider extremely valuable that you live by to help keep yourself safe and protected online?
Yeah. I don't click any links. So Jonathan clicked the link for me first. And then and then the second thing I would say is probably there's so much going on all the time in the space. Like 2 weeks ago, everybody was talking about Aster versus Hyperliquid, right? And then this week, it's like Polymarket versus Kalshi, right? There's like always so much going on, and it's hard to pay attention to everything. So I think the main thing of like how to actually win in this space long term is just understand something really, really well and just do that thing only
Mm,
and have conviction in that thing, and don't be scared because like you're gonna see somebody with like, oh, I made 20,000 winning a bet on Polymarket. Well, it's like you're not the best at predicting which side is gonna win or
right.
arbitraging. So just do what you're best at and specialize in, and that's probably the best way to actually like stay safe and avoid just getting
Th-
deleted.
That's great advice because it is an emerging industry. And really, to give yourself that edge, you want to specialize and hone in on a very specific skill. And the biggest cancer in this industry is FOMO. You see other people getting wins, but you have to look at the bigger picture. So someone's, doing leverage trading 100x and they made a ton of money, on a long trade. But you need to realize that that person probably studied the market incredibly in a nuanced fashion and took an extremely educated position where 99% of people who are doing that are getting wrecked. Like the system by design is like if you study the market, like it's designed to liquidate everyone. Even before it goes up, it'll go down 5%, go up 5%, go down 5%, and slowly start to make its way up. But it'll constantly just liquidate left and right. And I think that's great advice. Become really good at something really, really specific. Ignore what everyone else is doing and just master your craft and focus on that so you make the smartest decisions as the industry grows. Now, what does success for Moku and Grand Arena look like in 3 years from now?
Yeah. So I look at success basically as like surviving. Kind of like if you're a solo investor, right? The only thing you need to do is not lose all your money.
Yeah.
And so, as a company and as a business, what we're trying to build is essentially the next generation of daily fantasy for AI athletes. And to be here 3 years from now and still be like crushing the market and doing well, I think that in itself is already success, right? Just
Mm.
being able to survive that long.
Yeah, well said. It's if you can just be able to breathe in 3 years from now, that is a win in and of itself. Now, for yourself, Hantao, where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
Yeah. Hopefully not liquidated. And hopefully a little less scared of entering positions when we see large drawdowns. And honestly, just like being somebody that can be a voice for the space.
Yeah. And in a broader sense, uh, what do you think are the greatest hurdles today for the industry?
Yeah. I think a lot of what crypto has been is predicated on just making money, right? Because if you think if you think back to like the last bull cycle, part of the reason why it started was because everybody was getting stimulus checks, everybody is at home, and the only thing they could do was open up Robinhood and buy Dogecoin, and because of that, they're like, oh shit, I just lost a bunch of money on like GameStop or
Mm,
um, Dogecoin, and so a lot of what we've seen in crypto is just like, did you make money or did you lose money? Oh, I lost money. This is a scam, right? Whereas crypto and stocks, like, sure, there's some correlation in the financial markets in terms of bull and bear, but crypto is much more cyclic than traditional stock markets. And I think just people don't really understand the
are you talking
value of
about the four?
crypto.
Are you talking about like that cyclic 4 year
Yeah, yeah,
halving
yeah.
cycle? Do you think
Well,
that'll hold up? Do you think that'll hold up this round? You know, it's been that way for what, 3 runs so far. Um, and by the way, there's an argument to be made that even stocks have 4 year cycles as well, and it could be it's like almost coincidental that we look at it as like a halving cycle. It could just be presidential. For whatever reason, you know, there is some number four there that seems to kind of crop up both with stocks and crypto.
there is cycles in traditional markets, but it's not as savage as crypto, right? Like you
Right,
don't see Bitcoin going from like down to 60%, 50% in
right,
a drawdown, right? So I think there'll be cycles no matter what, 4 year, 5 year, I don't know.
right.
But at the end of the day, I think it's just like people don't realize the value of crypto yet because for example a lot of people in Asia when they are in other countries they like to send money back home to their families,
Mm,
right? And they have to use like money orders and like go to some third party shop and then do a mail or something. It's like such an obfuscated process where it's
right.
like, hey, I can just send you 1,000 USDC and if they have an exchange they can just cash it out,
Right.
right? And I think as long as the education that is there, eventually people actually learn why it's so valuable.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like the two biggest hurdles are regulatory infrastructure. So mass adoption could occur, which we're seeing now, and also UI UX. Just taking this esoteric, nuanced world that you're very well exposed to, but not something your mom or your dad might be exposed to. And this whole idea of like level one blockchain, level two blockchain, you know, ERC20, like these are terms that are highly technical and making an interface, because here's the thing about decentralized systems. They sound like they're way better. And for the most part, they are in some ways, if you look at it from you know, a cost benefit analysis, but there is a trade-off, right? And the fact that something's decentralized is you have no recourse. And if you lose your money, you send it to the wrong spot, you have real problems. So creating an interface on top of that that helps protect people and helps people feel more safe, because here's the thing, right? we're we don't mind to custody and have our own private keys and hold our own, you know, wallets and private wallets and whatnot. But there's a certain sense of comfort knowing that like a trusted source can watch our money. And again, I think once regulatory standards really solidify and people make infrastructures on top of these native structures and blockchains, and sending money in USDT becomes even simpler than it is today, where someone with no understanding of crypto can do. Just like when you send an email, you don't understand TCP/IP, you don't understand all these protocols and structures that go on. You just send an email. And I think when it becomes that easy to send money, I think we're going to see the real adoption.
I don't think we're gonna get adoption if everybody in the world has to self custody, like you said,
Yeah,
because if everybody has to use like Rabbi or MetaMask, they're just gonna lose all their money. They'll be like,
correct.
"Oh, I didn't even know you were on a different network," right? So I think majority of it's gonna be through like your Binance, through your Coinbase, or through Robinhood and those types of apps that are connected.
Right. And there has to be some layer of protection because even on these exchanges, it's a double-edged sword because you don't feel comfortable leaving money on these exchanges. Because again, even if they lose your money, like there is no recourse. So that problem really needs to have a solution to it where you could benefit from the concept of decentralized structures where everything is just more efficient. There's no need for middlemen, but also you have that protection that comes with centralized systems. So, yeah, only time will tell.
Yep.
So, Hanto, it was an honest pleasure speaking with you. And I actually wanted to ask you one more question,
Sure.
uh, specifically on the AI world. How do you feel the narrative is going to play out for AI meme coins or just AI infrastructure in the crypto world?
Yeah. So AI meme coins, super bearish. I think it's just another narrative that people want to speculate over, right? Is all the bots on there is just like LLMs, like they're just bullshit.
Mm,
Okay. Now, in terms of
I
AI
agree, by the way.
content, thank you. And then in terms of AI content, I think that's actually very cool because I literally saw like Jake Paul putting on makeup and calling people sisters on TikTok using
Yeah.
Sora AI.
Yeah, I saw that too, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. So like AI content is only going to get worse, but people don't care because people, the only thing like the majority of people want is entertainment. So if
Mhm.
AI can provide them that entertainment, it doesn't matter if it's AI at all. They
Right.
just want to laugh for 5 seconds, go to the next thing. So that's why we believe that if we can create AI content that people can speculate over 24/7, that's where the future is.
Yeah. I mean, this might be a weird analogy, but I think it's relevant. Like, look at the whole Hollywood industry. We know movies aren't real. We know that they're not authentic, but we're still captivated by them. We're still interested in them. And like, why shouldn't that concept translate over to AI? It doesn't have to be real as long as it's entertaining.
Yep. You don't care if it's CGI. You just
Yeah,
think it looks cool.
exactly. Exactly. Hantao, I appreciate your wisdom, brother, and it's been an honest pleasure talking to you. How can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can just hit me up on Twitter at HANTAO.
Thank you for your time.
Likewise.